What's up, guys? So the track and field season has been done for about 2.5 weeks now, and yeah, this is just a video recapping the 2021 track and field season. It was a successful season for me, a good experience overall. Technically my first year of track and field, and was going to do track and field in 2020, but obviously with COVID and the lockdowns and everything, that got canceled. So yeah, that kind of sucked. But this year in 2021, I actually got to do track and field. So yeah, that's a positive. Alright guys, I'm going to be recapping the 2021 track and field season. A very successful season, I'd say. And keep in mind, this was really close. This was right after cross country ended. As soon as cross country ended, in early May, I started track and field, along with all the other cross country runners. We started track and field. So let's recap every track meet here. So the first track meet was actually a home meet at our high school. It was on Thursday, May 6th, 2021, and yeah, I ran two events that day on May 6th. I ran the mile and the 800, and I ran the mile first, and I got a time of 5:35.4 in the 1600, and I was 6 out of 7, so I finished 6th place out of 7 runners. So yeah, it was just a dual meet. It was against Fall River. My friend Kane was in that race right with me. We finished like right at the exact same time. He finished like less than a half a second before me. So yeah, that was my first ever track race. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was a good time, what was a bad time. But you know, that's a good starting time for me. Yeah, it's just good starting time in general. So 5:35.4 in the 1600. And then right after I finished the 1600, I had to do the 800, which is 2 laps. And so it was basically half a mile. So after I finished the 1600, I got right into the 800 and ran a time of 2:36.6 and finished 4th place out of 7 runners. So yeah, just a good starting point, you know. Got a time of 2:36 in the 800 and got a time of 5:35 in the 1600, aka the mile. So yeah, that was the first track meet of the year for me. I ran 2 events, the 1600 and 800, and there was all the other events, and Milton ended up beating Fall River, so we won that track meet as a team. So yeah, a very successful first meet of the year. The only home meet we would have all year. So yeah, it was at our high school, so it was the only home meet we would have. But it was a very memorable meet, and it was the first meet for me. And then the next meet would be a week later on Thursday, May 13th, 2021. This would be in Evansville. This would be the second track meet of the year, as we'd be taking on Evansville in a dual meet. And yeah, I ran the same 2 events, the 1600 and the 800 again. And in the 1600, I got a time of 5:30.4. So an improvement by 5 seconds in the mile, and I placed 5th out of 7 runners. So I got 5th place out of 7 runners. So I beat 2 runners in the mile run. So yeah, an improvement, better than last time. So a 5-second improvement on the mile on May 13th. And I also ran the 800. I ran a time of 2:28.0. And yeah, I placed, even though I placed last 5 out of 5, I still ran a PR for me, 2:28.0, which would end up being my best time in the 800 all season. So yeah, really good performance for me. Really good race. And even though I finished last, I still had a really good performance, and I was satisfied with my performance. And yeah, so overall, the second meet of the year was a huge improvement over the first meet. I improved my time, so I had an 8-second improvement in the 800 and a 5-second improvement in the mile. So we had a pretty significant improvement in the second meet of the year. So even though Milton lost, the team lost as a whole to Evansville, I had a huge improvement time-wise. So yeah, individually, I had a better performance on May 13th, even though we lost technically to Evansville. So yeah, so recapping, May 6th, ran a time of 5:35.4 in the mile, and then ran a time of 2:36.6 in the 800. And then the second meet of the year ran a 5:30.4 in the 1600 and ran a 2:28.0 in the 800 on May 13th. So those were the first two meets of the year, and I was feeling really good. I was feeling really happy. The first two track meets of the year under my belt, had good performances in the 4 races I had so far, and then unfortunately, the following week on Monday I would get quarantined because apparently I was in close contact in one of my classes with somebody who tested positive for COVID, which is really unfortunate and really shitty and really unfair for me, because I didn't even know that person, and I didn't have COVID at all, but the stupid COVID rules affected me, so I ended up missing the track meet on May 18th. So I missed out on one meet because I got quarantined. So yeah, I missed out on one meet this year that I could have been in if I didn't get quarantined because of stupid COVID. But anyway, I'm not gonna dwell on that. It's over with. So yeah, but I would end up being in the 4th meet. So I missed the 3rd meet because I got quarantined. So meet number 4 on Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. I ran a new event. I did the 4x8 relay with 3 other teammates. So it's basically a team effort. And we were taking on Monroe. So it was a duel against Monroe. And yeah, we ran the 4x8. We would lose to Monroe, but we would get a time as a team, 9 minutes and 34 seconds. 9:34.4 seconds. So we ran a 9:34 in the 4x8 relay, which put us on the leaderboard, number 13 on the Milton track and field record book. So we made the top 13 in the 4x8. So now my name, along with the 3 other guys, are on the record book on athletic.net for the 4x8 relay. So that was awesome. It was nice to see my name in the record book in track and field. So yeah, top 13 in Milton track and field history. Individually, my relay split for the 4x8. A 4x8 relay is basically here's how I can explain it. So you have 4 runners, and every runner has to run an 800, which is 2 laps around the track. So everybody and you have a baton. And, you got to pass the baton after the 2 laps, and make sure you don't drop the baton, because that will subtract a lot of seconds off your time. So yeah, so basically it's a team effort, and basically everybody has to run an 800, and there's 4 of us, and we ended up finishing with time of 9 minutes and 34 seconds, which is a school record. So we were in the top 13 in Milton track and field history. So that's nice. That was really nice. So yeah, that was on Monroe. That was in Monroe on May 25th. And also side note, during that meet we had a delay because of lightning. So I was kind of afraid that my other track event would be canceled, because I was running the 4x8 relay, and also I was gonna be running the mile afterwards, which I ended up doing just later than expected. And yeah, it came out after it stopped lightning, after the lightning stopped, and yeah, I ran a 5:44.0 in the mile, and finished 8th out of 15 runners. A bit of a setback. Not the best performance from me. I kind of regressed because my training kind of got screwed up because I got quarantined and wasn't just training as hard as I probably should have. But it was still a good run, just the weakest performance for me overall on the mile, 5:44. It's definitely not a 5:30, like my PR from last week, so from the week before. So yeah, at least though I had a good performance with the team in the 4x8 relay where we finished 9:34.4, and ended up being put in the record books because of it. Okay, so that was that was the third meet of the year for me on May 25th. And then the next meet would be on Tuesday, June 1st. And I would end up running the 800. Yeah, I would get a time of 2:30.9 in the 800. So another good time, another good performance, solid performance. Not a PR, but a solid performance. I'd finish 4th out of 8 in the 800 relay. Yeah, that was in Watertown. Side note, we were originally supposed to be doing a 4x8 relay on this day, but 2 people from our team no-showed, so we couldn't do it, which I was really sad about. But at least I got to do the 800, got a time of 2:30.9, and finished 4th place out of 8 runners in the first event of the track meet. In my second event, I would actually run the 3200, which is the 2-mile run, which is the longest run they have to offer for track and field. And yeah, it's a long ass run. It's 8 laps. You have a long time to think while you're running. Kind of enjoy the moment of racing. So you have a lot of time to think. It's 8 laps. And yeah, I just did it because I've never done it before. So if I do it, it'll be a PR technically because it'll be my first attempt. And yeah, so I could just say I did the 3200. I ended up running a time of 12:59.0, which is probably not a good time, but hey, it's a PR for me, and I did it. I can say I did it, and yeah, it's part of my my athletic.net bio. So yeah, so yeah, that was that on June 1st. That was in Watertown, and that was a bigger meet. And then after that, I graduated high school. And I had track meets after, so I graduated high school, right? But since COVID delayed everything, like all the sports, I had graduated high school, but I was still doing track meets. So I was supposedly done with high school, but I'm still doing track meets because everything got delayed because of COVID. But I'm happy that we ended up doing it because if we didn't, we would have got screwed and robbed of an opportunity. So the next meet was on Tuesday, June 8th. We did the 4x8 relay again. Individually, I ran a time of 2:31.2 in the relay. And the team finished, as a whole, got a time of 9:45.8. So not as good as the May 25th time, but still a good time. And that would be our last time we would do the 4x8 relay. And this was with one other teammate. We swapped Trey for Ethan. So Ethan ran in this one with us. So he's not as fast as Trey, but we wanted to put him in there because we wanted to have him do it. And yeah, we still ran a good time, 9:45.8. Still a respectable time for the 4x8 relay. So yeah, that was in Madison at Edgewood College. And the stupid thing about this event was, the stupid thing about this track meet was there was no spectators. But the ironic thing is that none of us were wearing masks, and it was like 90 degrees out the whole day. FYI, this meet on June 8th was the hottest track meet I've ever been at. It was so hot. Good God, it was hot out. You're just walking around, you're sweating. You're already sweating. You're not even working out. You're just walking around. Just walking around in the sun, and you're already sweating. The race hasn't even started yet. So yeah, I made sure to hydrate during that day, and yeah, it was definitely tough. It's definitely harder to run in extreme heat than it is in mild heat, which is what I prefer. I don't prefer 90. I prefer maybe 70s. 70s and 80s is fine. Or 60s. A bit chillier, but still, that's actually 60s is probably perfect for running. 60s, 70s, 80s are fine. Once you get up into the 90s, it's just too hot. It's just too hot. You can't deal with it. It's hard. It makes it harder to run, and that's how it was on June 8th. So now we go to the final meet of the year for me on Monday, June 14th. I only ran one event this track meet, and that was the mile. And I ran a 5:31.4 in the mile. So, a good time. I did not break my previous record though, unfortunately. I was 2 seconds off of my previous record. But a good respectable performance to end my my year, my track and field season, and my high school athletic career in general. And that was in Sun Prairie, and that was for regionals. So yeah, I made regionals, so that was nice. It's kind of like sectionals for cross country, except it's different. It's called something different. So yeah, that was all the track meets for the year. I made varsity and I made regionals, and yeah, I got another varsity letter for track and field. So yeah. So just to summarize it, May 6th. Just to summarize it, I would say the track meet on May 13th was without a doubt my best performance of the year for track and field. Ran a 5:30.4 in the mile. Finished 5th place out of 7 runners. And then the 800, I ran a 2:28.0 and finished 5th place out of 5. Both of those would end up being my PRs for track and field. And the 800 and 1600, which were the events I ran a lot. I ran the 1600, I ran the 800, I ran also the 3200 once just to try it out. That was on June 1st. And 4x8 relay, which is the same thing as an 800, but it's a team effort. So everybody has to run an 800. Now we are on the record books for Milton High School track and field. So that's what I'm happy about. That was successful, and yeah, just overall a good season in general. I'm trying to think. So a lot of these track meets, these early ones, were on school days. First 4 were on school days, and then I graduated high school and had 2 more track meets after that, before I was officially done with the season. So one thing about this year in general is that a lot of we were kind of short on distance runners, to be honest with you, especially boys. There was a lot more girl distance runners in track and field this year than boys. It was just me, Trey, Kang, Ethan, and Braden. That was it. Some other boys from cross country were either injured or did not run in track. They decided not to run in track and field, even though they ran in cross country, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but it's their decision. I'm sure they had a good decision not to run, but maybe they had other things going on. Who knows? Work? I don't know. But yeah, a good season. I'm glad we actually had a track and field season this year, because last year I missed out, obviously, because of COVID. So technically this was my first and final year track and field in high school, because I'm a senior, and yeah, it was just a one-shot thing. So yeah, it was fun. I got put in the record book, so I'm happy about that. And I PR'd, had 2 good strong PRs on May 13th, the second track meet of the year. And yeah, I made regionals, made varsity. I met some new people. Yeah, it's a good experience. After that, after the last meet of the year, I was kind of done with running because I was kind of tired of it. Because I had just finished the cross country season, and right after the cross country season ended, track and field starts right away because, this is a weird year because usually cross country is in the fall, but this year it got delayed and got pushed back to the spring, which is the same time track and field is. So right after cross country ended, I started track and field and did the track and field season, and track and field went on even after the school year ended for me. So yeah, it finished about 2.5 weeks ago. On June 14th was the last track meet of the year for me. But it was a good season. My best events were the 800 and the 1600, the mile. And yeah, those are my 2 events I was good at. And obviously the 4x8 relay I was good at too. The one event that I wasn't good at but tried anyway was the 2 mile, which is the 3200. But I just did that just to say I did it. So yeah, that was the 2021 track and field season. Overall, Milton, we won the first meet. We lost the second and third meet. We won the 4th meet, so we went 2-2. And then the 5th meet we lost. Okay, so we went 3-3. So, yeah, we went 500 throughout the year. We went 3-3 as a team overall. Thank you guys for watching this video about me talking about how my track and field season went. It went well. Kind of sad. It was just a one-shot for me. I don't get to do it again next year, obviously, because I graduated and I'm going to college. But it was a good experience, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad COVID didn't cancel it this time. That's all I can say. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, I'm going to put some pictures of the track meets and everything like that. And the team. And yeah. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, take care.